I'm guessing most people kind of chill at first and just zoom up. Guys, we got the GoPro going. Cat 1 race. Got some pros out today. How you guys feeling? Strong. This is a big.
All right, guys, we are back. 2021. This is the first race at Seward Park. This is my first race. This is the first race of 2021. I am again racing in the. I called it the Cat 4-5 last year, but this is actually called the beginner. So it's the 5:30 session. There is an intermediate session, which is kind of like a Cat 4, Cat 3 that starts at 6. And then the Cat 1-2 starts at 7. They don't check what your category is in these races, so you can race the faster races if you want. You can sandbag down if you want, but I don't think most people do. This is not like an officially sanctioned race in the area, but it is probably one of the biggest, longest running criteriums in the Seattle area. I talked to the event staff, and they said that this is the 31st year they've been running the Seward Park Crit. Maybe the 30th or the 31st, but for a really long time. So, the folks that started this up are basically long gone and have passed on the reins of this race. Anyways, I'm not going to voice over this entire thing. This actual race occurred about 4 weeks before I'm doing the audio and posting it. I recorded everything, got everything on my GoPro, but didn't have a laptop that could process the video at the time. So I don't remember exactly what happened. But on the upside, I spend most of the race kind of middle pack. So what I'm hoping is that a lot of the folks that came out for this race as like their first ever Criterium, or at least like their first Seward Crit, are going to get a chance to kind of see themselves race. So I'm guessing there were probably like 40 people in the race. It's pretty big, and I'm probably about 20th wheel for most of the race. There's a point where I get up kind of near the front, and then I come back. But yeah, unless you're in the very, very front of the race or got dropped right away, you'll probably be in here. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I have a lap counter in the bottom right. But I'm just now realizing I did what I always do, and I forgot to turn on my Garmin until like lap 1 or lap 2. I do turn it on eventually, so you'll get some kind of power data, speed data, and all that kind of stuff. There it goes. So the lap counter, I actually stopped 1 lap short of completing the race. I didn't realize how close I was, but I was also super blown to pieces. So it's kind of hard to tell from my heart rate. My max heart rate coming into this season is like 184. And I think when I finally get dropped, I'm at like 165, which will probably look, I don't know, it might look kind of weird to some of you guys. I know it looked weird to me watching it, but I was definitely blown up. I did not ride a lot over 2020 and came to the race pretty out of shape. So, it didn't go super well, but I did enjoy it. There's always like a great vibe at Seward Park. So even though I didn't finish, I hung out and I watched like the next couple races, and I had a pretty good time. I will film. I run the camera all the way until the very end, so I do actually. I stop 1 lap short, turn around, set up the camera, and you can see the finish of the race. I'm a little far back, so it's kind of hard to tell like who crossed the line first. But for those people that finish like in the bunch sprint at the end, might be kind of cool to see yourself, or like snap a picture of you crossing the line for my camera angle. I guess I should say a couple other things before I cut out. So I actually joined a new team, Gene Johnson, which there's a guy in front of me right now. I'm not sure if I know who it is, but he's in the blue. It says Zoom Drain. That's one of our multiple sponsors. So this is my first year racing with like an actual team that shows up in races. I was on another team in 2019, but there's never really anybody else from my team in my category. It was mostly masters and advanced riders. So I actually get to ride with the team this year. Some of the races that I film after this one, and do involve a little bit of team tactics. At least for me, never at Seward Park. Seward Park for me is always like a battle for survival. It's not a good race for me. It's like maybe 27 minutes long, and it's basically all out power or no pedaling at all. It's like you basically go up a really steep hill, take a sharp turn, pedal into a descent, coast for a long time, and just kind of rinse and repeat. You do that, it looks like 14 times. I'm not like in super good shape, like I said. I also weigh 190 pounds, so even though this is like a super short hill, I have to hit like 600 to 800 watts every time I come up it, and my recovery's not good. These are not excuses. Like, I mean, I feel like even with my fitness, I do okay at Seward Park. I think this is the only race I actually get dropped in, and I race this time. I think this one like 4 more times after this. So, I mean, I'm not really complaining, but yeah, it's definitely not my style. I don't have my stats up, but I turned 40 this year, so I'm officially a Masters. My FTP in 2019 was about 320, so my previous videos. My FTP now is about 290, so it did drop about 10%. As many of you guys probably know, if you've been racing crits, FTP isn't really honestly isn't that important. Your ability to recover, your ability to hit high watts for short periods of time, then recover is really what's the most important. So even though my FTP dropped, my performance overall is probably fairly equivalent to last year. Not in this first race. This first race is kind of me getting into shape, but in my other races, I don't feel like I'm a lot worse off having a lower FTP. My racing skills and riding skills are definitely a lot better. My cornering and drafting and all that, I think, make up for that lack in FTP. I did gain 10 pounds over the pandemic. Not all fat. I was lifting weights, but I'm a little heavier this year. So yeah, Seward is kind of a double whammy with the hill and my extra body weight, but I'm sure it'll come back down now that I'm riding a lot. I think one thing that might be good for folks that are watching this, if this is their first race, so you kind of get a good idea of riders that are doing good things and maybe riders that aren't doing the best things, and maybe where some of the more dangerous locations are on the race. Like when we come into that sharp turn that we just went through, people do pretty well. I mean, I think in the beginner race, nobody really ever crashes that I've ever seen. But we do see crashes in the intermediate and advanced. I think that's largely because the beginner race, we just take it a lot slower. We're doing everything a little bit slower than the upper level folks, but we are more bunched up. So you do see some crashes at Seward, just kind of due to that bunching. Not as much due to fast corner or anything like that. Another thing I should mention is we're actually doing what most people refer to as the reverse version of the race today. Normally we go, I gotta think about it for a second, counterclockwise, and today we're going clockwise. I think for the bigger guys like myself, clockwise hurts a little bit more. This hill coming up is a little bit longer. Then it goes immediately into a corner, and then you have to, as you know, if you've raced crits, you have to sprint out of every corner. It's just kind of the way it is. And so you basically hammer up this hill. Right now I'm doing 500 watts, which is probably actually on the lower side of most of my my goes up this hill. Yeah, there I hit 800. You're pedaling on this kind of false flat, so I'm still above threshold. You get a moment to rest coming in this corner, and then you'll see I'm resting here for 5 seconds, then immediately you're hammering back out of the corner, 600 watts just to get back on somebody's wheel, and then you have to pedal basically the next 20 seconds. I'm kind of being really specific and breaking this down, but all these little things matter. I mean, you do 800 watts, 5-second rest, threshold. Then I'm doing 500 watts here on this false flat, and then I get my rest after this. Right, I come down this hill, you have to hammer out of that other turn at the base of the hill a little bit. So that's, I guess, probably a really good tip. You can see there's some spacing in front of me right now. What I don't want is spacing after I come out of this turn. You want to try to find a wheel and get onto it out of the turn. The turn I just took is a pretty good example of the way you don't want to do it. We're going downhill and I'm doing 500 watts trying to get back on somebody's wheel. So not my best. That wasn't the best example. But yeah, if you can get on somebody's wheel, you have this downhill, you have this descent, which allows you to pick up a lot of speed. I think 35, 36 is about as fast as I've gotten on this. I think the more advanced groups get closer to 40. But you're coming to the base of this hill. If you can come to this base of this hill at like 35 miles an hour, especially if you're like a lighter weight person, you can get over this hill pretty well. We race this same direction again in a couple weeks, and I do much, much better. I always find a wheel. I come to the base of the hill, usually as fast as I can, and then hammer up into this turn. And do a lot better. Also, your fitness comes really fast in crits. As some of you guys might know, it takes a long time to build a base, to build that fitness, to be able to ride for a long time, but to be able to like ride a 25-minute crit, hit high watts, and then rest, that all comes pretty fast. Anyways, I'm rambling on. We're at like the 12-minute mark. The video goes for about 15 more minutes. I'm just going to let it run. I'll let the kind of the background noise, bike noise, come back. I don't think anybody really says anything. It's hard to be tactical at Seward Park, unless you're really fit and you're right at the front. Most of us are really just trying to survive. You'll see us passing a lot of people that are going considerably different speed than we are. Those are drop riders. At Seward Park, you're allowed to continue racing. You can even jump back into the group. You can't race for preems. You can't you can't sprint in the bunch finish at the end. But you can kind of jump back in and work on your technique, work on drafting, like I'm doing right now. I'm doing a much better job now. Drafting coming to the base of the hill, not doing many watts, which is great. Anyways, thanks for watching. I guess if you have any questions about the race, I have other Seward videos up that you're welcome to watch. But yeah, if you were in this race, hopefully you're getting a chance to enjoy watching yourself. There's nobody behind me right now, so clearly I'm at the back of the race. So you're either in front of me or you've been dropped. But yeah, hope to see you guys out there. Best of luck and goodbye.
I think there'll be a sign somewhere. I was so close. You're gonna make us so proud, Johnson. Bike racing thing is tiring. Nobody told me that. Man. I kept getting caught behind these splits and then like I was just done. Yeah. I couldn't get took there. Everyone just kept after. I was like, yeah, I'm done.